Talk for movie fans. I'm Crystal Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course, we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Stream.tv studio here in Hollywood, California. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I saw the Lego movie for the 4th time last night, and I'm fairly certain, I put this on my Facebook, I'm fairly certain Anna's going to stab me in my sleep if I keep singing, "Everything is awesome." Like every 30 seconds, out of nowhere, I just start singing that, so I need help.
You guys have missed her. You've asked for her back, and she's finally back with us, our AMC Movie News Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hello, hello, so we meet again.
We also have the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Mr. John Schnepp.
Great to be here on a Wednesday.
In his best Batman voice.
Yeah.
All right, guys, after years of attempted development, it looks like a live-action Tarzan is heading to the big screen once again. Yesterday, Warner Brothers announced that pre-production has begun on the new film that will hit AMC theaters everywhere on July 1st, 2016. The film will star True Blood's Alexander Skarsgård as the title character, with Samuel L. Jackson, Margot Robbie from The Wolf of Wall Street as Jane, and two-time Academy Award winner Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained. The film is being produced by, among others, Dark Horse president Mike Richardson, and will be directed by 4-time Harry Potter helmer David Yates. John, what do you think about Tarzan coming back to the big screen?
She just pointed out at this point that that is not Alexander Skarsgård, who will be starring in the film. And although that could be Margot Robbie, who knows? Look, Tarzan is one of those stories that deserves to have fresh tellings done of it every 15 or 20 years. I mean, we had a great, I really like the Disney animated one, the one where Phil Collins.
It was so good.
And the music in that one with Phil Collins, it's the last real thing I remember Phil Collins doing in his music. Look, there were rumors about Skarsgård doing Tarzan last year. I remember we talked about it a couple of times, and then it was somebody else, and then the project was off, and obviously now it is back on again, and they've got a release date for it. I still don't buy into the idea of Alexander Skarsgård as Tarzan, and I still think it's a mistake getting a TV star to try to headline a film. And so I don't know, but then again, I don't really have 5 other names off the top of my head that I could say that I would rather see as Tarzan. You know what I mean? So why not Skarsgård? Other than that, I mean, the cast looks pretty solid. Like Robbie, we already mentioned. Samuel L. Jackson, or is it Lawrence Fishburne? It's one of the two. Inside joke for those of you who know what we're talking about. And of course, Christoph Waltz. I mean, that's the name that really jumps off the page to me, is Christoph Waltz.
Always.
So, yeah, I'm for this. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they do with it, absolutely. What do you guys think, Amy Rose?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. This is Jessica Chastain was the name that was in the mix before Margot Robbie,
yes.
And I thought she was the perfect fit for Jane. Right. So I'm slightly disappointed in that, but then you have Margot Robbie, who is kind of the most gorgeous creature ever to emerge in a long time. She's kind of like the Sharon Stone of this generation, just kind of that sex appeal she has on screen. So I'm not disappointed with this. I actually think Alexander Skarsgård is a very good fit for this. I know you don't watch True Blood. It's kind of tapered off for me as well. It got pretty ridiculous, but it's still really fun, and I think he plays a very primal vampire, and I think that's something that's going to translate really well to Tarzan, and Yates seems like a good fit for this as well. He's created really rich worlds, and I think, you know, the jungle and everything they're going to show here, it feels like all the players, and yeah, Christoph Waltz, I don't really care what he does, I'm always in. He makes every film better. He's such an incredible character actor, and yeah, I think this is going to be a fun time.
It's funny you mentioned, like, one of the worst films of the past 10 years has to be that just abysmal Three Musketeers movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Christoph Waltz played the Cardinal.
And he was still great.
And he's still good, and despite the fact of how bad that was. I'm so glad you brought up Yates, because I forgot to, because you're right. Absolute, really good fit for this role. I'm really happy you brought that up, Shnep.
Yeah, you know, I was had mixed feelings about it, and then I saw this image, and I instantly thought Margot Robbie, Bo Derek from Tarzan. I just saw the image. I was like, maybe this Tarzan reboot is a good idea. And also with the Planet of the Apes reboot, I'm like, oh, you know what? Tarzan was, he grew up with a bunch of apes, and maybe there's going to be some crazy ape action, and he's leading them in a big fight with a bunch of computer animated.
It's a shared universe.
I don't know if it'll be crossover, but I mean, I just that possibility of you know, seeing a bunch of cool fighting sequences.
And then King Kong shows up.
The biggest ape of them all.
That's right.
Mighty Joe Young shows up, rustling through the, pushing a tree
Joe
over it.
Young.
Yeah. And then Godzilla just for, you know, for the
Just for
heck
fun.
of it. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser will probably pop up at some point
Yeah.
too.
Hey, I unabashedly liked the Brendan Fraser one. I really did. I remember thinking that was really cute when I was
Wasn't that
younger.
Encino Man? Oh, that's something else. Yeah, no, I'm all for Tarzan. I mean, you know, it waffles. It depends. But yeah, Yates in being involved, it puts it up to another level. So.
All right, what's next?
Warning, this next item may contain what some people may define as a spoiler for the upcoming Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. But considering this is all stuff that will be revealed in the trailers, we're going to talk about it anyway. Actor Gary Oldman, who stars in the upcoming Apes film, was recently interviewed and asked about his character in the new film, to which he replied with the following. He's sort of the designated leader of this community, who were sort of lucky enough to survive the Simian flu, that disease, and the ensuing social uprising from it. So they're sort of survivors of a community, and he was a police officer. He's known in the community, so he's more of the elected leader. We need power, and there's a power station, and some of my people go out to see if it's operational, if it's still out there, and they discover that there's a whole community of apes living there. We believed they were all completely firebombed and wiped out. He's experienced a great loss personally, and there's only one answer to him, which is to wipe them out. I see him as sort of the hero of the piece. Schnepp, does this sound good or bad to you?
Get these apes out of my power station! I can't wait to see Oldman go off on a bunch of apes. You know, what are you doing in here? They're all like just eating. Well, we thought we could just hang out in here. They're all talking and everything. So, no, it sounds great. You know what? We all knew that was going to happen. The simian flu knocks everybody out. I mean, we didn't know if they were going to show that in the beginning, or it probably makes sense that, oh, this has already happened. They'll have like little video clips of.
It'd probably be like an opening 3-minute sequence that kind of gives us the chronology of humanity being decimated.
So it being a spoiler, yeah, it'll all be revealed probably in the trailer. You'll see decimated societies, a bunch of humans hovering around with like, you know, cans and stuff, and it's them versus Caesar and the other apes. So no, it's not a big spoiler to me, and it sounds great. I like the way he described it. So.
Amy Rose?
Yeah, I mean, I literally hear Gary Oldman's name and my heart flutters a little bit. I'm just so enamored, like, with his talent. He is just so incredible. Every film, again, like Christoph Waltz, I was just saying this, it's better when Oldman is in it, and I feel like he's just such a great fit for this. That trailer was epic, and the one thing I really loved about the first film, I thought it brought up some really interesting themes. He talks about how he is, you know, kind of the elected hero of the film.
Right.
But what I love so much about the first film is that I don't really think that line is so clear cut, because who really is, you know, who's the problem? Are they the apes? Are they humans because we put them in captivity? I mean, I really think that was shown really well, and I think that's going to also be shown in this, because who really is the enemy here? And I think that Oldman really brings up an interesting point, and everything. I mean, you can tell he's really passionate about this. I'm really excited. That trailer is still probably my favorite trailer of the year because of just how much it built
and
the momentum. It's so intense, and
it's just a teaser. Wait till we see
exactly.
that.
Yeah, wait till the real trailer comes out.
So yeah, Oldman as the hero, I'm in.
Oldman's going down.
Well, Caesar.
One of the things I love about this comment is it solves a problem I've had conceptually with where we're going. Because by the end of the first Apes movie, right, what you had was Caesar leading this group of apes, and their desire was just freedom. That was their desire.
Right.
There wasn't a war between apes and humans. It wasn't that Caesar wanted to conquer humanity. He just wanted freedom for him and his people, right? In what we're hearing from Gary Oldman, it completely makes sense that at some point humanity tried to wipe out the apes, firebomb them, thought they drove them to extinction. In that one line, what Gary Oldman has given us is motivation for the character of Caesar about why now this is going to be a different Caesar. Caesar ain't just looking now for freedom. He's probably looking for revenge, and he's probably looking to conquer. He probably sees humanity as the problem now. And in this one sentence, Gary Oldman has completely made this next film for me seem to totally make sense in a way that only Gary Oldman could. So so I'm very happy about these comments, and yeah, I do think we're going to see this basically explained in future trailers.
Yeah.
So I don't think and Gary Oldman has done enough films that he knows what is a spoiler and what is not. Right. He doesn't accidentally let things slip that he's not supposed to. So I have no doubt this wasn't a spoiler, but it's really good stuff to know. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show called Buy and Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Schnepp, Amy Rose, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
John Travolta as a James Bond villain? It may not be as far-fetched as it sounds. In a recent interview, Travolta talked a little bit about how he has always wanted to play a bad guy in the 007 series and suggested it could happen when he said the following: "I would love that. They're going a different way with their villain in this next film, but I've spoken to Barbara Broccoli about it and she loves the idea. So that would be great." Amy Rose, buy or sell Travolta as a Bond villain?
I'm actually okay with this. I'm going to buy it. Travolta has played a villain a couple times over, so it's not really a far-fetched idea. Not to mention he's played a very smooth gangster in films like, you know, Pulp Fiction or Get Shorty, and I feel like that kind of suaveness would be a really good villain in a Bond film. He has a tough act to follow after Javier Bardem. He was incredible in Skyfall. So, yeah, he definitely has his work cut out for him, but I know with everything going on in his career, he needs a really good role like this, and I think Sam Mendes would provide that for him. So yeah, I think he has the chops to be a good villain in a Bond film, personally.
Schnepp?
I'm going to sell it. I'm not against John Travolta. He's revamped his career multiple times. He was like, oh, he's a washout. Barbara, you know, get out of here. All of a sudden, Pulp Fiction. So, you know, we know he can revive his career. I just can't see him as a bad guy in the James Bond franchise. I mean, we've seen him play bad guys in Face Off. We've seen him play bad guys in, I think he was in Swordfish. He was the mastermind.
Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow.
Yeah, Broken Arrow is a great point, but that just rings wrong, and it just rings to me like, hey, it's somebody stumping. You know, I'd love to be a Bond villain, says, you know, X. You know, that doesn't mean they're going to be a Bond villain. Talk to the producer. They like me. So it could just be that. I seriously doubt he's in any contention to be a James Bond villain. He's not up for it. That's my guess. So
I'm going to buy it hesitantly and with a razor-thin margin, but because the name in this story that you really have to pay attention to isn't even really John Travolta's name. It's Broccoli's name.
Yeah.
Who has been like one of the senior people of all things Bond since 1995. Yeah. She is a power player in the world of James Bond. If she wants something,
she's the power player.
Yeah, she's probably going to get it, notwithstanding what Mendes wants for stuff like that. And if Travolta's telling the truth, and she actually has it in her head that she wants Travolta, then I think your chances almost become 50-50. I mean, I'm sure she's got to get the approval of Mendes. She won't do something against Mendes if he doesn't want it.
Might I bring up Battlefield Earth?
Oh.
Leverage!
Leverage! We have leverage.
Breathe gas. Bring forth the breathe gas.
Here's the thing about Travolta. Travolta, to me, is in a much smaller scale, all right? Has a little bit of Matthew McConaugheyism in it. Remember, there was like a 7-year period where everybody would laugh when you'd mention Matthew McConaughey's name. Right. And we would always say, look, laugh all you want. This dude's a real actor. Maybe he's making some questionable career choices, but the dude can act. You look at even recent films, like I thought he did a really good job. Paris with Love, was that the one where he was like, I thought he was really good in that. I loved him in Face Off. I think he's done villainous pretty well from time to time. He's been in a couple of bad things as well.
Pelham, taking a Pelham.
Yeah, not such a good turn for him. Wild Hogs is something we'll avoid. But you know, he was. Nobody talks about his performance in Hairspray. I thought he was fantastic in Hairspray. It's a real silly role and everything.
You brought Hairspray into this
I brought up Hairspray. I'm putting Hairspray on the table. I even thought that as all the weaknesses that were in it, I actually thought his FBI agent character in Savages was actually a pretty solid part of that film.
I did too.
So questionable decisions. Is he a bit of a whack job lunatic off camera? Maybe, that's what I hear. Right. But don't undercut the fact that this dude has acting talent.
Sure does.
And if Broccoli's behind it, would I pick it? No.
Right.
But it's possible.
All right, I'll just hesitantly sell it.
Okay, fair enough. And I'll hesitantly buy it. All right, what else do we got?
Keep your receipts, guys. Just keep your receipts. As many of you know, Divergent director Neil Burger has parted ways with the franchise and will not return to direct the sequel, Insurgent. However, it now appears the studio has found their new director in Robert Schwenke. Schwenke has previously directed such films as Flight Plan, The Time Traveler's Wife, Red, and most recently R.I.P.D. John, buy or sell Schwenke directing Insurgent?
Well, you know, what you're not going to see on the trailers is from the director of R.I.P.D. That is probably not something they're really going to hammer with. I'm going to sell this choice, but not because I don't think that he is a decent or even a good director. I loved Red.
Me too.
I think he did Flight Plan. I'm pretty sure he did Flight Plan. I thought that one was really well done. I even like, while I'm not a fan of the story of The Time Traveler's Wife, I thought the direction of the film was actually quite good. So I like him as a director. I'm just not feeling a fit here. But look, I could totally change my mind on this after I see Divergent, because I haven't read Divergent, so maybe this is a perfect fit. So for now, I'm going to say sell, but I reserve the right to change my mind after I see the first film to see if he is actually, or theorize whether he's a good fit for this universe. Amy Rose?
Your reservation's been noted. I will buy it for now, mostly because of Red, because, you know, from what I know of the Divergent trilogy, it is very action heavy, and I thought the action in Red was really well done.
It was.
And so I think that's really good, not to mention the whole time travel aspect of Time Traveler's Wife. I also didn't really love the film, but stylistically, I thought it was pretty well made. So yeah, I think he's a decent choice. I haven't seen the first film yet. Miss Chrisley is going to be covering the junket for us, and she could not be more excited, could you, lady? Yeah, I don't know enough about the first film from what I've seen to know, you know, what direction they should take for the second, but it seems like an okay fit for now.
Shep?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to just sell it just because I haven't seen the film yet, but to me, it's like when you have a director off the first film and just leaves, kind of, it's always a weird, it just seems weird to me, like, so either he, like, I'm now
It worked for Hunger Games, though.
Right, it did work for the Hunger Games, but I'm still going to sell it just because I always think that's just a little bit weird.
Sure.
And the guy that they got, he's definitely a very adequate action director. It just makes me wonder if they're like, get somebody who can just, you know, replicate what's already been done, or if they're going to go in a different direction. So it just makes me question it. That's why I'm selling it. So.
Fair enough. All right, what's next?
Dallas Buyers Club screenwriter and Academy Award nominee Craig Borton has just signed on to write the upcoming biopic of John D. Rockefeller. The project will be directed by Lasse Hallström, who previously directed such films as What's Eating Gilbert Grape and the Nicholas Sparks adaptations Safe Haven and Dear John. Schnepp, buy or sell the sounds of the Rockefeller biopic?
Man, I totally buy it if like that was that image you could move, like it's a hologram and he turned into a vampire mummy. Because then, like, if you just moved a little and Rockefeller's like, then like John D. Rockefeller, vampire mummy assassin, then I might go see it as like a double bill with those Abraham Lincoln trilogies.
As brought to you by the director of Safe Haven and Dear John.
Yes.
Yes. Zombie Rockefeller.
Yeah. So
by Dear John director.
I sell it unless it has zombies and weird psychic assassins from a wormhole just showing up.
From 2020.
Yeah, from 2020 wearing Avengers Halloween outfits. Otherwise, if it doesn't have that, I'm selling it.
As soon as we're done the show, we have to start writing that script. Anyway, Amy Rose.
I'm going to sell it because of the last two projects he did were Nicholas Sparks novels. I don't think he's the right fit for this. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Of course, that was a fantastic movie, but then lately in his career, he's taken some interesting steps. So he's not the director I want to see. Could he still do a great job? Of course. But for now, I can't say I'm particularly excited.
I want to buy this because of who's writing it.
Yeah.
I want to buy it, but I can't. So, and who knows? I mean, look, this guy actually made some really, really good films. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and previous to that, he's made some really good ones. He's taken some paycheck films recently. Okay, it is interesting to see what he's going to do with something like this. So, but since we got to give the answer right now for me, it's going to be a sell. But we'll see how it turns out in the future. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show called Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to bring up on the show, you can email us anytime by emailing us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every day we take a couple questions out of the mailbag, and I want to let you know, for those of you who are watching us live, we do this show live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're watching us live and you got some questions, we're going to take some live questions as well, and you can tweet those questions to us. Go to your Twitter and tweet to us at AMC Movie News. So send that to us, and Chris Lee will pick some out a little bit later. But for now, we've got mailbag questions. So Chris Lee, what do we got?
Cam Kalick writes, hey AMC Movie Talk, love the show, watch it all the time. My question is, do you think there would ever be a chance for a Queen musical movie? Kind of like the same way Across the Universe was done, all songs from the band and a storyline revolving around a time period that is relevant to the band. I know there is supposed to be a biopic on Freddie Mercury, but I haven't heard anything about it for a while. Always thanks and keep the show coming.
Well, they are. The Queen, the Freddie Mercury biopic is moving forward. And I keep forgetting, I'll look up his name here in a second. I keep forgetting his name, but the young guy who played Q in the latest James Bond film has been cast as Freddie Mercury, replacing Sacha Baron Cohen.
Which is so disappointing.
Which is so disappointing. Sacha Baron Cohen was attached to that film for like over a year and a half, and then suddenly that fell apart, and now they've got, so that is moving forward. Could we see a musical kind of Queen film? I don't think so. From everything that I've read, between all the people who have a say in what happens around Freddie Mercury and Queen movies, which include all the members of Queen, they have been having the hardest time just making up their own minds about getting this one film to the screen. I doubt we're going to get a second. So let's just really look forward to the Freddie Mercury biopic and be happy with it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it sounds like there's been a lot of trouble in paradise with this one, and I am glad that the bandmates are involved, because who knew them better? Who knew Freddie better? And he is such an iconic, flamboyant, fantastic character and talented musician, and I'm really excited for the biopic as well. But I feel like we'll know a lot more once that actually does come to fruition. Right. If we would see it, if that is very successful, people love it, they want more Queen music, which of course we all do.
I'm just a poor boy, not from the family.
He's just a poor boy.
Mama mia, let her go, let her go. Yeah, we can just do it right now, rock and opera immediately.
Headbang. And so I think that if it is successful and is accepted lovingly by audiences, that it could lead the way for more Queen films.
And by the way, the actor who's going to be playing Freddie Mercury is Ben Whishaw.
Yes, that's right. I liked him as Q, actually.
I did too.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll fight John Travolta.
Anyway, what's next?
Eric Tish writes, why has Will Smith been left out of all of the promotional material for Winter's Tale? Has he now lost his BO touch so much after After Earth that he's being hidden like M. Night was for that film? And we're going to say that BO is box office.
Yes, let's not confuse that.
BO.
Has he lost that stench, the power of the stench?
He doesn't stank anymore.
No. Look, we were just talking about the other day, where while I don't believe Will Smith's name is now the automatic box office lock that it once was, is Will Smith box office poison? No, he is not box office poison. They're not hiding. I don't believe they're hiding his name from this. I haven't seen Winter's Tale yet. There's actually a screening tonight that we were just talking about. But I believe it's just a matter of, I bet Will Smith's role is extremely, extremely small. I believe it's probably just a tiny, small role, and that's why he's not being featured. Because honestly, when actors who have like 2 or 3 scenes or 2 or 3 lines in a film, and then they get like a chunk of time in a trailer, I find that to be deceptive. So I actually appreciate the fact that if it's the case that Will Smith just has a very small role, I appreciate the fact that they're not using him in the trailer. That makes sense to me. What do you guys think?
So let's get this right. Will Smith is in Winter's Tale and not in Independence Day 2.
Yes.
Interesting career choice, Smith. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is Colin Farrell's movie. So, and he's a big enough marquee name to sell this. I mean, he's a very talented actor. I still thought he was robbed for not getting a nomination for Saving Mr. Banks. He was fantastic in that movie. So yeah, I'm not too interested in this film, but I have heard that it's pretty solid. So we shall see. But it's not uncommon for secondary actors to not be the biggest name. And let's just be honest, he doesn't hold as much power as he used to. So.
Right.
Well, I looked him up on IMDb because I was like, Will Smith's in A Winter's Tale? And he's just Judge.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Not even a name.
Yeah, Judge. They didn't give him a name. They're like, you're just going to say, like, 3 lines. It was probably a favor to either the producer, the director, or one of the actors. He just showed up, did a day, hung out. And a lot of actors do that. In a lot of movies, you'll see, like, Robin Williams or different people just show up and they're like, no, just, don't use me. And their agents say, like, don't use them in the, for marketing. It's just like a little gimme, a little flavor. So it's not a big deal. I don't think it's the Sham Hammer body spray that's doing any of that activity. But
the BO.
Yeah.
All right, we got a few minutes left over here right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some questions from the live viewers. Once again, if you're watching us live, you want a question, you can tweet to us at AMC Movie News. Chris Lee is the gatekeeper of all things for the questions. So Chris Lee, what live questions do we have?
Drew Swayze wants to know who will be the better on-screen villain, Thanos or Apocalypse?
Apocalypse, no question.
No question.
No question. You guys any other thoughts?
Not even a debate. Apocalypse.
Non-debatable.
Yeah. All right.
Because I know this is your favorite movie, John. Jonas Bless wants to know if we think there's going to be a sequel to the Lego Movie.
Oh, yeah, they've already announced it, as a matter of fact. They even before the movie opened, a few days before they opened, they announced they've already got their screenwriters on. They're moving forward in development of another one. So, and especially now when we see the box office returns this film is getting, it's no question. They've already said they're doing it. We're going to get a Lego Movie too. I'm going to guess probably in 2016.
So you might say everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. Okay, and what do you guys think? Any other thoughts?
It's already been announced,
Think it's
and
locked down.
I could not be more excited about it. It was so clever and charming, and they're on such a hot streak. Chris Miller and Phil Lord. I'm just so excited to see 22 Jump Street as well.
Yeah, cannot wait.
Yeah.
Alex Frankish wants to know, when watching a Marvel film, what do you enjoy more, the film or the anticipation of the post-credit teaser?
Hey, you know what? It's not a ridiculous question, because every time you go into a Marvel film, you're like wondering what it is, but it's definitely the film. When I go into Thor 2, I'm excited about Thor 2. Looking forward to what comes after the credits, but I am most excited about Thor 2. So, yeah, for me, it's the film.
Yeah, that's the meat and potatoes, and then dessert is the post-credits.
Yeah,
the best one still to date was in the Wolverine with the X-Men teaser. That is still my absolute favorite. I am so excited for that film.
Yeah, and that's not even the Disney Marvel. That's Fox just like, we might as well start sprinkling post-credits in. It's a Marvel film.
It's smart. It's really smart to build interest for, their universe.
I mean, yeah, I love the little things that happen at the end, the post-credits, little scenes. But yeah, for Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I can't wait to see that movie. And my mind is not even on what's going to be after the credits. That is literally the icing on the cake. Yeah. So.
And it'll probably be Ultron, is what we've heard. So.
All right, what else we got?
I think that you've addressed this before, but Bill Costa wants, first he says Happy Gwen's-Day, and then he wants to know if we think it's possible that Gwen Stacy is going to die in Spidey 3, not 2.
Oh, I have no doubt. Oh, sorry. Is she going to die in 3, not 2? No, I completely believe she dies in 2. They've already said that they filmed a mass. I mean, it's public knowledge that they filmed a massive 3-day-long funeral scene. I totally believe that's Gwen Stacy, so I believe she dies in 2, no doubt. Because originally, when they were going to have Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2, she was going to be the post-Gwen Stacy love interest.
Exactly.
And ultimately, the filmmakers decided, you know what? We feel that we're shortchanging the emotions Peter had for Gwen by having him move on to the next love interest so quick, and that's why they took Mary Jane out of the film. So undoubtedly, it happens in 2.
They did kind of publicly announce the funeral, so it would be interesting if it was misdirection, because they didn't flat out say who it was.
That would be funny.
So that would be really interesting. But
Aunt May dies.
Right? Aww. But yeah, I definitely think it's time to introduce Mary Jane in the 3rd film. So Gwen Stacy, I'm really glad they pushed her to the next film, but I want to see Gwen Stacy's storyline finish here, and then the whole morning, and then introducing Mary Jane in the 3rd. That seems to make the most sense. But
Agreed.
that would be very clever from Webb and team if that's what they did.
Oh my! It would hit us out of left field. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they tie Oscorp into this new version of Gwen Stacy's death. In fact, they released pictures of her wearing the same outfit from the original comic book.
Which
it's
love.
identical to when she dies in the comic. So, kind of get that feeling that that's what's going to happen. It might make a very angry Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. So.
And introducing the 90 villains that are coming from Oscorp.
Right. All right, what's next? Tucker
says, hey guys, I just wanted to ask you with the Bond news today, who was your favorite Bond and Bond villain?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not really clear on what the Bond news today is, because I finished writing the show notes at 8 o'clock in the morning, and after that I don't know what goes on. So whatever's been announced. Who's my favorite? Who's the favorite Bond villain?
Were you talking about John Travolta?
I think he was talking about the John Travolta being the possible
okay,
Bond.
yeah. I thought maybe something else came out that was like big announcement. Favorite Bond villain? Something Jaw.
Jaws.
Jaws, yeah.
Richard Kiel.
Something
Silver
Jaws.
Jaw.
He was pretty awesome.
Yes, Jaws. Jaws is my favorite Bond villain. You guys?
Odd Job is always fun.
Odd Job's great.
The Man with the Golden Gun, Christopher Lee. I can't remember his name, but that character with little Herr Villachez, assassin.
But what about favorite Bond is the question. Honestly, I love Daniel Craig, but I have to go Sean Connery.
You know what? I don't mean to be a come lately guy, but I actually think it's Daniel Craig.
I love Daniel Craig.
And the reason for me is because, and there's a very strong argument to me for Sean Connery or Roger Moore or whoever else.
They were all good.
But the reason it strikes for me as Daniel Craig is, I believe like your two pillar James Bonds are Sean Connery, Roger Moore. Each were a very different kind of James Bond. Roger Moore epitomized the suaveness of James Bond. Sean Connery epitomized the manliness of James Bond. And to me, Daniel Craig is the perfect embodiment of both. He is the hybrid, if you will, of both aspects of James Bond. And that's why, for me personally, it's Daniel Craig, but I know a lot of people just everything is Connery. It's got to be Connery.
That's why Pierce Bronson didn't work.
George Lazenby, guys. No, I'm just kidding. It's Sean Connery all the way. I mean, Daniel Craig runs second, and as he keeps making Bond films, he might overtake Sean Connery for me, just because I loved I didn't like Quantum of Solace. Or
Solace.
Yeah.
So
there were some bad Sean Connery James Bond.
Yeah. No, there were, but I'm just like overall he's still James Bond to me.
But I think you nailed that, because that's why Pierce Bronson didn't really work for me. I really like him as an actor, but I didn't really believe him as such a badass. But he was the lady killer.
He was more the Roger Moore template than he was the Sean Connery.
And Craig does have both.
Timothy Dalton didn't get enough movies to wrap that.
Yeah.
He was good,
but he was good.
Yeah, I liked him in that.
All right, let's take one more.
Bobby wants to know, what Batman villain would you most like to see start the Affleck Batman series?
Well, I think we've already said before that we'd like for them to hold on to Joker for a bit. Like, even if it's just for one film, hold on to Joker.
Yeah.
Gosh, you know what? I wouldn't mind some kind of version of the KG Beast. Because KG Beast is actually a pretty interesting character when you actually look at him. He would be interesting and not one of the big obvious Batman villains that you can use later on if you want. So I would come out of the starting gate with something like that, maybe.
I would come out with the Riddler.
Riddler would be a good one too.
Because he could be played so creepy and ominous with just weird, creepy riddles, and like I always thought, like if they redid the Riddler and they got rid of the Jim Carrey goofiness, he would just, or the goofiness, not just Jim Carrey, but the Frank Gorshin, which I loved in the '60s, campy Batman. But if they're doing a really cool Batman, I think the Riddler can be a very good villain for the first film.
Oswald Cobblepot. I love him so much.
If they go more with the No Man's Land kind of version of him, like he's the arms dealer, he's whatever, more than the Danny DeVito version that we've had, I'd be totally down for that.
And I would like a new Riddler, because I love Jim Carrey, but he was too goofy and silly. The Riddler is much more menacing than they showed him.
But he fit the movie.
For that movie, he did. Yeah, well, it was all very two-faced, everything was
The Penguin's going to be in the Gotham series, and they're really beefing his role up as like that
I don't care about the TV stuff.
But I'm just saying, like, I think when they're going to use the Penguin in that, I think that means that they're not going to use him.
Possibly, yeah.
That's just my mind was like, oh, if they're like making the Penguin the big Gotham bad guy, then they're going to leave some of these other villains for the movie.
Could be. Could be. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. We're all out of time. Thanks so much for joining us today. Listen, don't forget there's lots of great movies playing in AMC theaters everywhere right now. Head on over to www.amc theaters for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. Also, listen, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our Stitcher Radio and our iTunes so you can listen to us on the way to work. And don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. I want to thank those sitting at the table with me. First of all, our editor of Movie News here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
On Twitter at Amy Rosie. Lovely to reunite.
The one and the only Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Twitter, Instagram, just at John Schnepp, and get those damn dirty apes out of my power station!
That's going to become a trending thing on Twitter now. And, of course, our lovely host today, Miss Crystal Lee Kennedy. Crystal Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Crystal Lee and The Movie Chick on Tumblr.
And you can find me just on the various social media networks at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. So my name's John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until then, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.